Mr. B, how are you, my leader? No, we are here again to continue with building, building the nation, building a new generation that will be self-driven, that will rely on themselves, that will stop complaining. And what are you talking about, Mr. B? I'm talking about, a lifetime project, work on self. Mr. B, we are sitting in a world, man, that is very, very much dependent on what the government needs to do, what the parents needs to do. Some they're asking themselves, what have we inherited from our background, So we are coming with this podcast, Work on Self, to really eliminate this blame game. We want to conscientize people. And when I talk people, I'm saying me and me, but the most focus, it's you, Mr. B, working on yourself. It will be a blessing to those who will manage to grab something on this podcast as you work on yourself. Yes. So, Mr. B, we are going to work on ourselves in many ways, challenging how we think, challenging how we look at things, challenging how we interpret things, challenging how we engage with other people. The podcast will be wow. The podcast will be a podcast where we'll be embarking on the journey of a self-discovery. Imagine discovering that very same thing that you think or you thought you need something else. Imagine if you discover that indeed you have it, you have everything, you have got a toolbox that is full of everything. So that is the podcast that we are going to engage, we are going to talk about. Mr. B, people will be asking so many questions to say, there is so many podcasts happening and there is this and that. Why you, Mr. B, coming with this kind of podcast, work on self? Very exciting, and it's a critical question, because indeed the times that we are living in, time is of a paramount importance and it's a scarce resource. So people will want to make sure that as soon as they devote, as soon as they follow your podcast, definitely they need to be assured that they will be able to grasp something, that surely they will be able, to get the answers, or they will learn. Because the aim, remember, we are still emphasizing that the aim is not to talk to other people, but Mr. B is going to work on himself. And as and when he does that, we wish, the best to those who will be walking this journey with us to grasp something out of the project. So today, basically, we are just saying, work on self. It's a project of self-discovery. Work on self is a project of healing. It's so exciting to work on self, to discover that in fact, you don't need to depend on somebody else. It's so exciting when you work on self, and through that project you discover that, by the way, I've got everything that I need. It's so exciting to discover, as and when you work on self, Mr. B, to know that in fact no one is better than you. You are self-sufficient. You are smart in your own way. Of course, we are not going to be competing or differentiating ourselves, because that is also another problem. It's a problem simply because if we were to work on self, you will discover that there is a reason why there is no fingerprints that can be duplicated. It's only you. It's so fascinating again, isn't it? That even if there was to do, the police sometimes they also able to do the forensic, just a thread of your hair, Mr. B. It cannot be compared to any other somebody's hair. Isn't it so exciting? Yes, it is. So, Mr. B, this project of work on self, honestly, I believe that is going to change. It's going to change people big time. Those who used to feel left behind, those who used to, especially including myself. I remember the olden days where, born from the rural areas, thinking that certain things are meant for other people. But I thank God that, bit by bit, through His light, He made it possible for me to realize and, to strengthen my faith. And in that faith, that's where I've learned. Some of the scriptures, sometimes we will think like it's just scriptures. The scriptures that says, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. The scripture that says nothing is impossible with God. And, working on self is also to realize that God is always with us. Anywhere we go, He's always with us. So, we are going to work on self, Mr. B. We are going to work on self to unwind, to uncover the potential, the great potential that is bestowed in you, Mr. B. We have just started, we have just, warmed up. We haven't touched, the critical, we haven't opened serious doors. Let's hold on, let's walk this journey together. Let's become better friends. Let's invest the necessary time, because it's with time, and let's work on our focus on this project of work on self. Let's really change, the ultimate goal of the podcast, Mr. B, it will be to change yourself, to stir the potential in yourself, Mr. B. It will be to narrate, some of the stories that were never narrated before. It will be, to open another direction of how certain things can be seen. It's so exciting. This journey, this project or this podcast, it will be all about, turning things around, indicating that the world is 360. 360, it means that there are many ways that if the door one is closed, you can, move around and, turn things around. Basically, it will be exploring exploring the massive potential of what a human being can do. You know, what a treasure that has been bestowed in an individual. And Mr. B, this project will be so exciting. And I just wish and, you know, pray, because at the end of the day, I believe that it is through God that will enable us to walk this journey and do justice to it. We are going to work on ourselves different way, mentally, socially, health-wise. We can talk about it, all angles, you know, all angles. The topic will be a lot, and as and when we go live, you know, we share some snapshots. We will be indicating some of the topics. You know, I've got an amazing team that is working tirelessly with me on this project. A team that, you know, since we started, I underestimated the project, but we found ourselves working because we want to bring quality. As I've indicated, we don't just want to be an additional number to the podcasts that are already in existence, but we really want to be a podcast that will make a significant improvement, change, contribution, you know, bring change in other people's life. So Mr. B, cheers, you are on the right track and you are spot on. And aluta continua. We are going to do this. Cheers.